Being able to draw a kitchen floor plan and work through ideas for your space is a very helpful exercise for discovering the best possible design for your kitchen. This video is a portion of my Kitchen U Design workshop. You can access the full training in the description below. I'm going to basically draw this myself, and I thought this would be kind of interesting to do. And yeah, you can see that fine. We had this is freehand. You can use a ruler, and I always recommend you use graph paper, and you use 1 square is 6 inches. So that 2 squares is a foot, so that you know that 4 squares is a square foot. And then you can easily divide up that space in those 3-inch increments so that you know that half of a block is 3 inches. And it will help you in drawing this out to scale for yourself so that you know what it will look like. I'm not going to do this to scale for this drawing. I'm just going to do this freehand. But I want you to think about that. Here's my kitchen. My living room's down here, and you know there's a hallway that goes this way, and then there's a doorway here that goes down a couple stairs. And I have a window in my kitchen. If you've seen any of my videos, there's a window, and this is how you just depict a window. Okay, just like that. So you just draw another little rectangle, and usually I just like to say that it's a window. Put a W in it, or you can actually write window. And if I have a door, which I have one down here, I'll write door. Or D, just so we know what these are. And this, not that you don't know what they are, but if you're going to give this to somebody else to help you with, they want to know that that's a window. And so that's important. Now I measured everything in my kitchen already. I already know what the measurements are. I have 105 inches here. My window trim to trim is 37 inches. And then 38 inches to my corner from the trim to the corner, 38 inches. There, I measured this whole wall to the end. It was 96 inches. Or 8 feet. And in fact, this to the doorway is also 96 inches. Now we have some working measurements, and I want to also indicate, just some simple lines. This is where having a ruler comes in handy. What I'm measuring. And that's all you have to do for that. Draftsmen get a little more detail, but you don't need to. This is just indication of what you are measuring and the sizes. There you go. If you gave this to me right now, if you came into my office and you gave me this would be great. This would be like, oh, awesome. This would be so easy for me to design because you have everything right there. I know what everything is. It's also good to indicate what the total length is. So this is 180 inches overall, and those are already totals. So it's also good just to do that if you've broken this up, because you've most likely measured this in increments. So you measured this, and you measured this, and you measured this. You measure 180. Also measure down here across to see what that measurement is the best you can. Now you're using a tape measure. It might not be super accurate, but if you measure down here and it's like 185 inches, you better go check something. You maybe made a mistake up here, or your room is just terribly not square, which is fine, but it's just good to know. You want to know how badly this is out of square, this room, so that you can deal with that later. Because that's going to be important when you're installing your kitchen. Most likely it'll be probably a little bit off. We can indicate that I want my sink under my window. Obviously I want to have a dishwasher next to that. I'm going to have a fridge over here, and I have a range over here. And the rest we don't really know about at all. So this gives us our working floor plan. Now, what we want to do from this stage is we want to start drawing rectangles, and we want to start putting in cabinets. And this is where knowing your cabinet brand is going to be very helpful, because you can look on their list and say, okay, they have 36-inch wide sink bases. I want to have the biggest sink base possible, so I want to put in a double sink or a big sink, single sink, or whatever I want to do, an apron sink, and I need a 36-inch sink base for that. And I'm going to center that under my window. And of course, the center is always good to know. And so center of 37 inches is 18 and a half. And so we're going to just draw in, this is not like perfectly, but we're just going to draw in this little rectangle here. This is going to be our sink base, SB, and it's going to be 36. Now we know that we're going to have some kind of corner cabinet, and we're going to have the rest here. The next thing I do after I put my sink under that window and I have it centered at 18 and a half inches in my plan, I'm going to deal with my corner cabinet. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. Now upstairs I blocked my corner off, but for the sake of this, I'm going to put in a regular corner base. And I know that the corner base comes in a 36-inch corner base because I looked online and I seen what the cabinets were. I'm going to draw in my 36-inch corner base, just a little corner like that. Of course, not to scale. It's really not to scale, actually. All right, so here's my little corner base. And I have this little space left over because, you know, I know that this is 18 and a half. This is 36. So I have 2.5 inches left over. 2.5 inches, and that's going to be my filler space. So now I know that I need a filler. I need a corner base that's 36. I need a sink base that's 36. How did I know it's 36, 2.5 inches? Well, I just subtracted 38 plus 18 and a half is 56 and a half minus 36 minus 18 and a half is 2.5. Just a little bit of math. I already pre-did it in my head, but you just get a calculator and you just figure out what those distances are. So that way you'll know what size filler that you need to have. Now, I don't like fillers as much as possible, so I blocked mine off so I have the filler on the inside, and I actually have a cabinet here instead. But for now, this is what we'll do. So now I know I have a 36-inch corner base. I have a 36-inch sink base. I have a dishwasher that I already bought, and I know it's 24 inches. Now we can begin to measure back how much distance we have left to put in our fridge and what other cabinets we want. Now we know that our fridge is maybe a 36-inch, and so we're going to put in a 36-inch space for that. You know, maybe that, and there'll be a cabinet over that, so put that in here. And then we have to figure out what's left over. So this is all just you in your own space, really just subtracting. It's just adding or subtracting. That's all it is. And you know your totals, you know what lengths you have to deal with. So if you have 105 inches to this window, and you know that you have your dishwasher here is against your sink cabinet, and you already know that you have a 1/2 inch, all right, because this is 36 and that's a 37. So when that gets centered, you have a 1/2 inch. So I know that I have room for this 36. I can put in maybe a 24-inch pantry unit, and I can put in maybe an 18-inch drawer bank or something like that. All right, just doing a little bit of math, measuring out what it is that you're going to be using, and you're going to have a filler here when you start to do all that. So this is just a basic, simple floor plan. And you know, I did it fast because I already did all the measurements and want to be sitting on a calculator. But I know that this is what I have room for, and I did that just by adding all this stuff up. I know that I have fillers. I know that I think I need about 1.75 inch filler there. I need something here to fill in the space to the wall, which, by the way, you absolutely definitely want to have a filler against a wall when you're butting up to a wall like this. And then we can move over to this side. I'm going to have a range, which is a 30-inch range, and that's going to leave me with this is a 36-inch, and this is 30, and I have another 36 inches to play with. Maybe I'll go with something smaller, or 30 inches left. I'll go with a 24-inch cabinet here, and I'll leave some space to the doorway so I'm not crammed. Okay, so you're just kind of playing with the sizes. Now you might say, well, I don't want to have an L-shaped kitchen like this. I want to have a U-shaped kitchen. So you just do that. You just draw those things in and plan out, start in your corner, work your way out that way. Maybe you want to put in a peninsula down here. So again, you just work in all those measurements and draw this out. Now we could do that again. At this stage of the game, it's so simple. You can just start adding things in. And as long as you're keeping track of the measurements of things, the sizes of things that you're working with, the clearances that you have, we'll talk about clearances a little bit later. Particularly, I didn't want to do a U-shaped design in my kitchen. I wanted to have the biggest island possible. And if I had done a U-shaped kitchen and come down here with cabinets, my island size is going to be quite a bit smaller than what I wanted, because we have to have clearance to get to the island. We have to have so much clearance here, and we have to have so much clearance here. I didn't want that. So I didn't do any of this. I just went with a nice L shape, and I just made the biggest island possible that I could, so that I could have, walking space coming through here, walking space through here, and room for everything. But this is how you work that out, and this is the easy way to do that. If you took this to me, it would be like, this is amazing. I know all the cabinets that you want, and then I just ask you some questions, like, do you want a fridge panel next to that fridge? And then, hey, maybe you want to leave maybe an extra inch of space for that fridge. So we would work that out. Maybe we'd say, hey, we want to leave 37 inches there, and we have a little bit of room here. Maybe we could do that. And hey, do we want to block that corner off? So maybe I'd ask you a few of those questions. We put a fridge panel, and then we can work out our wall cabinets. We would want to have a wall cabinet, because this is a fridge, so we're gonna have a wall cabinet up against that. Maybe I should have drawn that in a different color. But we can determine how far that is, 1824 to the window, maybe a 36-inch cabinet here. And then we put in maybe a corner cabinet over this side. We know that those are 24, and we know how much space we have left. We have about 15 inches or so, 14 inches. So we put in a 12. I'm just drawing this out really badly. So we'd have another cabinet here. We'd have our range hood over our range and another 24 here. So we can start to just get the cabinet sizes that we want just by, figuring out what's going to fit. We have basically the sizes and the ideas, and maybe we have a few of these drawings figured out that we can, map through. We know that our island's going to be, 78 inches and what we want in that. Then we can draw this out as a elevation. So this first step, if you just brought this to me, dream client, I'm telling you, you have everything measured out. You kind of know the sizes that you want. You have an idea of what this is going to be. You at least know the sizes that you have, right? You don't know, maybe this is going to be a drawer bank, 3-drawer, 2-drawer, 4-drawer. Maybe it's going to be a garbage pullout. Whatever the cabinet brand offers in 18 inches, you have the availability to put it there. Maybe in, over here, obviously that's going to be a pantry. Do they have a single door, double door? Maybe we want to make this 15 inches and get a bigger pantry and kind of slide everything down. Maybe, we want to turn the corner, like I said, and so you can go through those options. Okay, so that's the basics of just drawing that floor plan. I do this on computers and it looks neater, but this is it. This is all you need to do. You can just measure all your clearances to make sure the size that you want. You want to have at least 42 inches, between spaces, 42 inches. And maybe you want to have 48 on this side because there's just more traffic, more doors being open. Sometimes what happens in a kitchen design situation is you have all these things that you want and they don't all fit. And I have this all the time. People say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you get looking at it, you're like, well, that's not all going to fit in there. How do I tell them that this isn't going to fit? But if they just kind of did a little bit of prep work to say, well, okay, obviously I want a 10-foot island. You're like, well, that's not going to work. And they're disappointed. But if you do a little bit of homework, you can realize, well, the biggest, most possibly biggest island I could get was 78 inches. Now you know what you're dealing with. Quick elevation view, because this will help you to visualize what you just drew. Based off your measurements that we just threw on the floor, we're basically just going to draw our wall. I showed you a picture of this earlier, but I'll do it in real time. And we have a window in that wall. All right, little window. And we know that we have a sink underneath that window. I'm going to draw this very crudely. And there's our sink cabinet with 2 doors. All right, and we got our taps on there. And we have our dishwasher, which we know is 24. Underneath this, you can write those measurements down. You already know what they are because you already drew them out. You have your dishwasher, your dishwasher door. You know that you put in an 18-inch drawer bank. Some nice handles on there. And then you have your fridge. There's your fridge cabinet over above. And then you have your space for your pantry. And you got 2 doors on that. And then you're coming down there. So look how beautiful that kitchen is. You can draw a little fridge in there. Okay. So we get my fridge to go. It's got a bottom drawer, French doors on it. And of course, my fridge has a screen on there playing Mark Tobin kitchen design videos. And then you have your corner cabinet here. All right. You can just draw that. This is going to be blocked off space. And you have a door on there. Drawing your wall cabinet. 2 doors there. You have another wall cabinet over here, and that's blocked off. There's your kitchen, 180 inches, the whole thing. And you already know what the sizes of all these are because we already worked it out. We're going to go 37 on that. This is 24. We got maybe 3/4 of an inch left over here. We decided there was going to be a filler there that was 2.5, and then 36 for the corner. And then I might just have this wrong, but you add all that up, it should equal 180 inches. Or very close. I maybe missed something there. 3/4 of an inch for the fridge panel. And you have this beautiful picture. Look at that. We just have a kitchen just like that. You take this in, but here's what I want my kitchen to look like. You're like, oh, so easy. That'll take me literally 10 minutes to draw up on my computer and give you a 3D rendering. And bammo, you can see it in real picture view. But you already have an idea what this is going to look like. And then you can make modifications from here. You can draw another version of this where you have the fridge maybe against the wall, and you have an oven cabinet instead of a range. You can draw in maybe the fridge on the other wall. So you can come over here, we can draw the other wall over here. This is where my range is. I'll just draw my range real quick. Oven door on there. And you may want to have, a drawer bank next to that, and you might have another drawer bank here. You can kind of draw these ideas out and get these working for you. You have 2 cabinets, and then you have your wall chimney hood. And that's the only non-rectangle in there except for these little circles. Very super crude, but you can get the idea that this is how you can work through these things to make sure that you get a kitchen floor plan that is working for you, and work out these ideas. This is an elevation view, very simple. You can do this. You bring this in, or you take this to a design shop, or you take this to a kitchen supplier, or you just go online yourself. This is how this is going to function. I got my dishwasher to the left of my sink. That's how I like it to have it. I got cutlery here because I have a drawer bank. Be like, maybe I need to have a pull-out, recycle bin here instead. You can work through those things out. I got pullouts in my pantry, and I got my corner, so I'm going to need some kind of corner solution. And then you can be like, well, maybe I don't want a corner, so you could work out how to do that otherwise. Now that you have your basic floor plan drawn for your kitchen space, I want to challenge you to redraw it completely different, moving things around, coming up with new ideas. Now that you have all the measurements and you know the space that you have to deal with, there's no constraints. You can do anything you want. It doesn't cost you anything. So go ahead and put that principle from before into play now. Design up something completely different. Squeeze out every idea you can for your space to come up with the absolute best layout for you.